Yo, how's it going, guys? Here we got a video on the Auroradon Zephra variant. I don't like this. I don't think it's the best way to play Zefra, but I've had a lot of people asking for some of this. There's a ton of different payoffs you can go into, a ton of different engines you can use to get into the Auroradon. Right here, I'm using the Symphonic Warriors to get me there, since you can search guitar off of Electromite, and that discards to summon a guy from the deck that's a machine, and you can always make the barricade board blocker out of any two monsters with different names, and that gets you a link to machine, and together it just makes Auroradon. In this combo, if you open Auroradon plus any other card, so you have enough materials to make Auroradon and you have anything left over on the field, you can end on a Baron and a Shijao and a Protoss, just like Sword Soul can. And then you also get your counter trap in addition to that, and whatever else you can pen summon out. So I have a few games I can show you guys. Some of them are pretty spicy, and of course there's a ton of games I'm not showing you guys where I just bricked on all the bricks and garnets in this deck. Like, you don't want to draw the driver, you don't want to draw the Chiwen, you don't want to see the O-Lion, the Taya isn't good to see. Protoss gets searched, so there's no point in having it in your hand either. Stuff like Gate 0 is bad. Here's the two summons off of the guitar that you also don't really want. You don't want the counter trap, so you have a bricky mess of a deck that sometimes opens good hands and just wins, but you don't need Auroradon to just win off of a good hand, right? And the advantage here is it's very easy to play because you're always going for the exact same thing. And we do have some outs to max C. So we're putting in the Gamma for some extra outs here. You could probably run a different Auroradon payoff and then get Droll to play around that as well. Something like an Axel line for Jet instead of going for the Denglong to search the counter trap. And then you can use Droll because you can just play under it and it doesn't really matter as much to you. Yeah. So I'll show you a few replays here. I hope you guys enjoy this. Maybe you enjoy playing this build more because you think it's more fun. Alright, so this hand is kind of average. We open double Providence, which isn't the best, of course, but we do open Servant Providence, which is crazy because this gets us Zefra and 3 counters on the Servant. We also have a Gamma in case they have a Max C or an Ash Blossom or a Droll. We stop all of that right here. There's no way they're playing around the Gamma anyway, so they don't have any responses, so we're just going to pitch the Gamma. It does nothing for us. We're going to grab a low scale as well as the harmonizing, so we can summon out the Servant if we want to. I decided against it. I think I'm just going to use it later as an extender in case they have anything else, as well as this just lets us play through Nib naturally. Gonna grab the Divine Strike and summon out the Oath Dragon. This lets us make Baron on the 5th summon. Now we're going to go into our Electromite here. And that's going to grab us the guitar by popping the Zefra. Going to pitch the extra Pendulum Call that we've gotten here. Since it's dead anyways, we don't have enough targets. Summon out any machine here, make the Borg, and go into Auroradon. Gonna summon 3 tokens, tribute herself and a token. If you open something else, you can tribute the something else and the Auroradon. But we don't need to because we already have the Baron here. Going into the Moral Savage, as well as grabbing the 9 pillars. Gonna activate the scale again so we can get the counters on the Jackal. And we're gonna keep the Zefranio here for the live 9 pillars. Alright, so we have 1 Omni, 2 Omni, 3 Omni, 4 Omni negates, and a monster negate, and we have some degree of follow-up as well with Zefranio searching again, and the Zephyr Providence getting us a scale as well. So our opponent opens Raigeki, of course that's getting negated right off the bat. And then they activate triple attack, so we're getting that too. You get hit by the Kurikara here, unfortunately. Gonna protect ourselves here from the battle damage, and we're going to use the Jackal King to grab the negate to smack the Kurikara from getting back her Baron. That would have cleared our board. So we still have 2 to 3 negates here. Maxi isn't doing anything for us, so we're just going to go grab another body off of our guitar by pitching it. Search another scale here. And we're going to go link them off into Beyond the Pendulum for the low scale. And pencil a bunch of bodies. And at this point, they just decide to surrender. In this replay, we unfortunately do open the Chiwen. Oath Dragon also isn't the best ad, and our Spell Power Mastery gets ashed. This isn't the end of the world though, since we still have the Zefra here, Duelist Alliance grabbing us the Pen Call. And I'm just going to pitch the Chiwen. It's not like it really matters for us, plus it has a graveyard effect we might be able to utilize. I'm going to grab the low scale here, and at this point we get Maxied. Really unfortunate. So I'm trying to go search for the counter trap here, make the Baron, and we're going to pop the Zefra since we don't have any Zephras in our extra deck. So we need to get the Divine Strike live. So that's why we're going to pop it here, even though we don't get to search because we already utilized it this turn. So we're sitting on 2 negates and they're on 6 cards. Kind of unfortunate. And here they have Joker's Knight. And they go beat over our Celestial. It does get banished because it was summoned by the Harmo. And here we're just going to pop the back row. It's called by on the Chiwen. I mean, what else are they going to do with it, right? Doesn't really matter as much. Could have had it be worse for us. And now Zephrath goes to send us another guy. We're going to pen summon here. Just grab some follow up here, some extension. We do get Ash though. And we decide to negate it, and we get Maxied, which interestingly enough, we don't really care that much about because it's not like we were doing anything this turn anyways. So now we're on 2 negates since Baron's been spent. I decided to just pass turn here. Probably the correct option. Pen Call pitching to Strudo seems incredibly nutty, but I think we're out of targets here. Yeah, we only run 4 Magicians, and we've seen 3 of them already. And they have another Maxi, which is going to negate. Yeah, and they just surrender. So we could have just used our Destrudo here and just gone crazy. So we just get to climb up into Axis Code. We just win for free off of this. Alright, this duel is by far the nuttiest. Our hand pretty insane here. We get to open the Servant, the Oracle, we get Ash Blossomed, and we're just gonna go straight ahead and cross out it. So we didn't get any triggers when activating the Servant, so I feel confident that they are not, that they don't have the Maxi in hand, so I think this is just safe to hit. I'm gonna cross this out here. Negate that Ash for the turn. Add the Zefra. We already have 2 spell counters now. Foolish Burial gets to send the Dark Worm. And here I'm getting some triggers again. So we go into Jackal. And here they decide to imperm this. So I'm thinking, what the heck? Why would you imperm this? You could have probably like chained to it or something. So right here, I'm thinking they probably have nib, right? So the correct play would have been to nib, and then when I chain the negate, then you chain the imperm to negate my negate. But I might as well just play around it anyways. So we normal summon the Zefraxi, go into Appaloosa. On our 5th summon, they do have the Nibiru, it turns out, so we're negating this. Now I get to pen summon a bunch of guys. And grab a counter trap. Now we can make Electromite. We still have another live monster negate here as well. And this is going to just grab us the guitar. Whatever we draw for Electromite just gets pitched. And we're going to use these 2 to go into the barricade board to make Auroradon. And we can just combo from here, all under the Appaloosa. We've effectively hand ripped them for 2 since they use those. We know they have Nib as well, which is pretty dead in their hand. And our opponent decides to just surrender here. So games like these show off how really truly cracked this deck can be here. The Auroradon just giving us all the extension after we committed into an early Appaloosa here. But these games don't really happen as often, and our opponent did misplay with their hand traps. All right, in this replay, we're getting slapped by the Maxi right off the bat. Kind of unfortunate, not what you want to see. We're gonna go grab the Zefra Thubin here, since we want another level 4. And we're gonna scale the level 3 here. Our plan here is to send the Zefranio, and then we're gonna go into Baguska and get the 9 pillars. So this will be giving them 2 summons, and we have a counter trap plus Baguska. Probably the best interruption we can put up in the least amount of summons possible. I'm going to keep the Harmo in hand because we can't pen summon off the Zephraxi, and we're hoping we get to have like maybe follow up or something. Pot of Duality reveals we're playing Fluanderees, grabbing the Unexplored Winds since they presumably just bricked on something, and we can see they're shuffling back a Stry and the Mega Monarch Ryza, drawing 2 cards, enemy controller to turn us into attack position to turn off our Floodgate effect. So of course we have to negate this here using the counter trap, popping this so we can search for some follow-up, but it turns out they have the Ash, so it doesn't really matter that much. And they're going to normal the Stry, or Stree. It's like Stri, because it's for ostrich. It's a Stri. Gets negated anyways. This does get negated. I kind of forgot. Link monsters don't get negated though, so we're going to use Electromite for Astrograph, clear the scale that's locking us into Zephra's only, grab some bodies, beat over this guy here, and now main phase 2 is going to use the trap. Gets negated again. Don't really care. He's adding a guy to his hand, and now we go into the Unicorn to spin the continuous spell, the Unexplored Winds, because if they have any tribute monster in hand, they can just on start of main phase tribute the guy off, as well as the Baguska, and then they can keep playing from there. So I'm going to Link Karibo, setting a card. Doesn't really matter too much for us. We're scaling the Harmo so we can go into Access Code, and the last card is Imperm. So Access Code is going to beat this guy up, forcing him to tribute himself. We're just going to attack with 0 attack, just for the hell of it. And they set a card here. Now, Access Code isn't going to help us get to lethal. Baguska is dying here as well. But we're going to pop this card here because there's no reason not to, right? And it turns out it's a Fossil Dyna. So if this card gets flipped face up, destroy all special summon monsters on the field. Which really sucks, because if I went to swing over it in battle, I would have flipped up and popped my entire board. Not really cool, so good thing we got rid of it. And Beyond the Pendulum, grabbing the 6 that we can summon out here from hand as well, but they scoop before I finish the Pendulum summon. Alright guys, I hope I showed off some of the good sides of this deck. It can be really fun if it does what it's supposed to, and there's tons and tons of payoffs you can go for. Some of the older builds I had were running the Scythe Lock plus DPE package. You don't even need the DPE for this. It's just very, very easy to go into for free. Just make Verte, right? You can still Scythe here by sending it with something like Riser and then using Baron to bring it back, and then quick synchroing back into the Baron again. You could also just use Riser to dump Snow, which was actually pretty good in Kashtira meta, since you just flip their normal summon and they're just kind of stuck, honestly. So there's a lot of fun things you can do with these variants with the Auroradon. I just don't think it's the best, so if you have the dust left over, it's definitely a fun thing you can try out. Or if you just like Auroradon because you think it's cool, or you just like going super heavy on the combo lines without having to think too much, I think it's definitely one of the variants you could enjoy playing. And I hope you guys liked the video. If you want to see any other variants, I'll be glad to make some videos on them. Unfortunately, the Ritual Beast variant isn't really playable right now. We'll have to wait until a new support comes next year sometime, hopefully. And yeah, stay tuned for some more brews.